Hello, everybody. We are live with Crypto Talk now with your host, Max. Really glad to be here to see you all tonight and hear about all the hot topics and share with you and so on. Uh, we're going to talk about a few key things tonight. Of course, the overall crypto market, but in particular, we're going to be covering the likes of, for instance, Quant, XRP, XDC. There was an AMA that happened earlier today. And if anything, we're also going to finally do somewhat of a deep dive into the likes of Cosmos. So it should be a very good show, as usual. So without further ado, let's, of course, first welcome our community who happens to be here. And starting off with the one and only Edward Vincent, who says first. Thank you, Edward. Good to see you. Briltony is second. And she states she wins. All right, right on. Hey, there's Tim Shea who says hey because that's what he says. And get the emojis out. Good to see you guys here today. On top of that, we have just everybody saying hello to each other. And we also got Brian Dowie says sup guys. And Tim Shea is giving Brian Dowie the dabs. That's really, really good. Well, we're going to go ahead and, of course, dive straight into this. We're first going to recognize the overall crypto market cap and see what's going on with that while we wait for a few more people, of course, to file in. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. And as you can see right here, we're holding above, of course, that $1 trillion mark, and that is very good. We saw this basically as high as the 1.07 trillion. I think maybe even 1.08, just briefly within this last week. Of course, what's trending? Dogecoin is still trending, whether it's up or down. It is trending for multiple reasons. There's been some articles basically released about the whole thing of Elon Musk tinkering around with the idea of making Doge a payment. As well as some other ideas in regards to that. FTX is basically trending. The whole recent news about, for instance, was it Sam Bankman and so on, with the whole, you want to call it beef or whatever you want to call it. I don't really call it beef, but, the back and forth between him and the likes of CZ. So I guess apparently that's trending. And, of course, Pancake Swap as well. On the 1 hour chart, we have, for instance, VeChain is actually really, really doing well. But if anything, that's not on the 1 hour chart. I wanted to show you guys this real quick. But on the 24-hour chart, VeChain is doing pretty decent. I mean, up about close to, 11.5%, 12%, and so on. Toncoin is doing pretty well. As far as ones on the 7-day, I would definitely say Polygon's Mac is the one that's really taking the cake, as well as OKB. And then, of course, Arweave and Shillies. Not to also mention, of course, Litecoin and Loopring, but those particular ones. In regards to my particular watch list, a few things that stood out for me was, for instance, this right here, when I hit the 24-hour, yeah, it looks like, Half Pizza is doing amazing things, but I'm personally looking to get out of that as soon as I get a profit on it. I do not recommend anybody get into Half Pizza. Just throwing that out there. XDB is one I recently added to my favorites, or I should say my watch list, mainly because of, what Tim Shea shared with me. We're going to take more of a deeper dive into that particular one. XCAT is way up compared to we were at about a couple months ago. It's over $2. We were well underneath that, like right around the $1.70, $1.80 range, if I'm not mistaken. Good to see what's going on with that. And those are the few standout ones. As far as what's on sale on my watch list, I know some of you guys are into like Zombie Inu and so on, but I mean, I'm just not the route that I'm going. But Singularity.net definitely did take a dip compared to like where it recently was at. We did see a decent pump with that. And another thing I wanted to point out was, I don't know why it's not showing up on this particular list, but I did see another good dip for helium. And we do talk about helium quite a bit here. Again, I mean, I would have even put out a buy alert for this one. So this one, as you guys know, I mean, this one is swinging back and forth in a very comfortable area. It keeps going back to 390. And then it will go from there to, for instance, like maybe like 410, 420, 425, right? Roughly in that range. But anyway, on the last week, for instance, I mean, yeah, there you go. I mean, look at this. I put out a buy alert like right around this time and so on. Maybe not rate at like 369, but like I might mention to you guys like a 390 and so on. But for somebody that recognizes this, right, and watch this carefully down to like, 369. I mean, look at that. All the way up to 438, and it swings back down. So, I mean, I think this is a clear, swing trade by all means. Heck, even if for both perspectives, right? You could literally, against not financial advice, but you could literally swing trade this. I would say weekly at this point. Bi-weekly probably will be a little more safer. And then on top of that, you'd have one bag for swing trades, another bag for long term. If you're wondering about the long term side of things, I mean, just look at this. $55 last bull run. We saw that basically was the last November. Yeah, right around, look at this date. I mean, 11/11. Again, that was, Bitcoin, Ethereum's all-time highs. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, a 393 helium is definitely one that you may want to consider if you don't have it part of your portfolio. It's a top 100 crypto. We, of course, I think we've done more than enough deep dives into it. I've even done recorded. I think on MaximusCrypto, I didn't do one here, but we do have coverage that multiple times that we have done here. Their partnerships, you name it, right? So if anything, again, might be one you want to consider. As far as that's where I was going with exchanges where you can get this if you're interested. Binance, KuCoin. Although I got some news for KuCoin with you guys, I'm gonna share that with you in a bit. Actually, right after this, FTX, Crypto.com is where I have mine, and there's many other exchanges. On top of that, something I want to share with you guys is just that in regards to KuCoin. So there's this right here, and I basically, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Hit F12 instead of F11. Anyway, so there's this right here, and I guess this announcement came out on Halloween, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is this. Last night and the night before, I went to go buy USDT, to do the pairing, right? I was going to get, for instance, Chili's and Algorand off of KuCoin because, I just kind of prefer KuCoin, the layout and so on. Teach his own, right? I get it. You can get this elsewhere, those two. But I went to pay for it, right, with my debit card to get USDT, and it came up with like some error. So I'm like, okay, so I'll just try a different card. Same thing. And then here's the announcement on why that is. So it says service region update of Visa and MasterCard. This is a big announcement. It says, dear KuCoin users, please be advised that due to the product plan upgrade of card processing, we have to temporarily stop processing cards issued in some specific regions. I'll just cut to the gist of it. The United States of America is not on this list. It says this change will start, of course, on the 1st of November. The suspended payment methods on KuCoin will be bank cards, Visa, and MasterCard. Mine was a Visa. And then I tried a different one, which is ironically also a Visa, right? But those, one of those things. Anyway, it wouldn't take it. It says the clearing and settlement for authorizations made before the suspension time will not be effective. Well, of course, I did during the suspension time. List of supported regions. Nowhere on this list is the USA. So obviously that's a problem. I went down on the very bottom trying to see if there was some kind of update or anything like that. I do not see it. It is KuCoin, and I do feel as though they'll resolve it, but it was just kind of like a minor gripe for me. And at the time I was thinking, well, maybe this is a good sign because if anything, maybe I'll get more on the dip. So I definitely want to share that news with you guys. I'm going to kick it back into the comments just for a moment, trying to Be good about doing a little bit of back and forth. Gonna try the whole thing of like maybe 5 minutes of talking about something, 5 minutes in the comments. We'll see how it goes. I may go a little bit further ahead and so on. So here we go. And let's see, we do have a few more people filed in. This is good. All right. Let's see the last comment. Brian Dowie was saying hello to Tim Shea, and we have Boomer effing Sooner who says howdy. Good to see you, Boomer. And on top of that, let's see here. He's saying hello to everybody, me as well. Thank you for that. And how about this? Bitcoin BMW is here tonight. Good to see you, Bitcoin BMW, as usual. Says hola to everyone. Brian Dowie with a question. He says, Max, thoughts on what the library case could mean for XRP? The library case. So that one is probably not one I've been updated on as of recently. I've been trying to get as much info as I could. Elaborate on that. Maybe share it with me. We are a community and so on. And I can look more into that. I'll be more than glad to share it to other people as well. Sorry, I'm not aware of that particular one. Let's see here. Shinobi Raj. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Shinobi Raj. How about this guy? Coochie Boy. Good to see you as well. Thanks for following in. Michael Montclair saying hello to everybody as well. Good to see you, Michael. And as usual, love the music, my friend. Keep up the good work. Coochie Boy, does anyone use bank Visa card with Trust Wallet? I do. Are you having issues with that too? And that makes me also wonder because, think about, Trust Wallet and so on. Are you having issues with your purchases? Because that makes me wonder. It's like, is there something going on just in crypto in general with some of these other countries with the whole, Visa thing? Like I just literally mentioned to you guys the whole thing with KuCoin. So I'd like to hear about that as well. A little bit further down, let's see. Eric Vincent, Chili's continue to shine. Yeah, it really, really does. Another thing for me is I want to get, for instance, I want to add Algorand to that as well, because the way I look at it is just, preparing for the World Cup. Algorand's going to actually end up being a couple different things for me. I want to do like a swing trade on the short end. I know some people are like, oh man, it's one of the ISOs. You don't want to do that, but just on the short end, and then to have like a separate bag on top of it for a long-term hold. I did see Rich from Common Sense Crypto. He had a price prediction basically at these particular prices doing 100x, and he had an outline for that. He's just not throwing it out there. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, wow, even at 100x, this is not me stating it, but I thought to myself, at 100x, that's like $44 based on the current prices of about, was it $44 and so on. So I just thought that wouldn't be too shabby at all, right? So anyway, Tim Shea, Michael, just caught your new video and shared in the Discord. All right. Cool. Thank you for doing that. Referring to Michael Montclair. And then let's see here, saying hello to Edward. Yes, hello to you, Ed. I think I said hello to you earlier. Yep, Michael showing the love for that. And I agree. Keep those great songs coming. You have a really great voice. I think, if anything, it's just, maybe networking with people, or maybe you're already doing that. I do see you have a pretty decent Twitter following and so on, but I think you'll definitely get there. Keep your passion alive. Keep doing what you're doing. You have I'll be honest with you, you have way better voice than the average one out there doing doing their thing and so on. There's not a lot of great, in this modern times, let's face it, there is some good artists out there, but your voice, I gotta admit, man, I actually really love hearing it. A lot of times I actually will just turn you on randomly, either on my phone or stereo and so on, because I just like listening to your music. I really mean that. I really actually do enjoy listening to it. So again, keep it up, man. Let's see here. LBRY lost its court case with the SEC. Oh, that's right. Okay, my bad. I am somewhat familiar with it. I guess that's just how it was worded. I did see the whole thing. What's his name? Phelan is his name. The guy that used to be a lawyer. He's been posting a lot about it, for instance, on Twitter and so on. So yes, I am a little bit more familiar with it than I stated before. it was just the way it was. I'm literally thinking of like, you know, like from a different perspective. So I apologize. I haven't been feeling very well today, but I'm starting to feel a lot better. So let's see here. Declared as security. Yikes. Shinobi Raj, banks do not like people buying crypto. Lol. Yeah, they need to, because I mean, with what they're going to be tied into, right? All right. So Tim Shea, I never buy from KuCoin. I transfer USDT and trade that way. My thing is, I like that. I know like people are not a fan of it, but like I actually like the outline of how it's set up from a web-based, you know, their actual website and so on. So from that perspective is one of the reasons why I like using them. And of course, I also like a lot of the staking they have there for a centralized exchange, so on and so forth. So me, it's just more like a preference, ease of access. I know it sounds crazy. Ease of access on KuCoin, yeah, I actually prefer it. So, but teaches on. Shinobi Raj, unless they can make a profit on it. Okay. And then Michael Montclair, Raul Paul said a blind monkey could pick a crypto winner. It's going to be crazy. The only reason why I think he'd be saying that, if you think about it, right, is he's recognizing that we're coming out of the crypto winter, going into a bull market, and it's just kind of like, you know, towards the end of 2021. Well, I should say towards the end of 21. Two main things in 2021, right? So I think there was two key moments in 2021, maybe three. I should say three. So number one, you know, the whole thing of like Doge, like maybe depending on like how you got, like myself, right? Like the whole thing with Robinhood, whether you're for Robinhood or not, them landing that, getting on their particular exchange, people coming in. But as far as just like all-time highs, I'm literally thinking of like quite a few different ones in April/May, I think is the standout ones for countless different cryptos. And then of course, I would say October, November of 2021. So like that 3-month range, if you will. So maybe he's just looking at it from that perspective, because that's basically what happened. And for a lot of you guys, right? Like, you know, that's why you got into like meme tokens and so on, because it's just like, wow, look, all these low market cap ones, I did really well with it. Maybe you didn't even do a lot of research. Who knows the case, right? And he just like, you know, blindly throwing a dart at a dartboard, and a lot of people caught fire. And I think he's looking at that way as well. Michael Montclair, wow, I'm blushing. Thanks again. Well, you know, no problem. I mean, you know, why not share members of the community who are doing very well in regards to that. Oh, by the way, I am following you. I follow you on the right one. I know you had like 2 different ones. I am following you on one. You can follow me back if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. By the way, here's another guy. I just followed you last night. I saw that somebody else was already following you, Menelect, so I went ahead and gave you a follow as well. Good to see you, Menelect. Tim Shea, Max, I use KuCoin, just transfer USDT there, and then trade/stake there, etc. Cool. All right. Yeah, I remember that you mentioned that I think you have your Zilliqa staked with KuCoin. That's cool. Tim Shea, hi, Menelect, and you're saying hello to everybody. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to share some news with you. This particular segment/topic will be on quant. I got some pretty interesting things I want to share with you in that regard. So let's go ahead and start that off. We'll just do of course, a Chrome tab. Give me just a moment. This comes straight from Quant Papa. So a new guy I've been following. I'm sure with you guys here in a second. It's regards to, you know, Quant's Overledger and so on. And of course, this is a short little video, so I'm just going to share it for you can actually hear it. Just give me a second. Here we go. And like it says, you know, no way in hell, but well, it's just that it's like, yeah, yes way. So here we go, and I'm going to full screen that, and we'll be back in about about a couple of minutes.
Interoperability blockchains. So there's ones like Aeon, Polkadot, One Ledger, Icon, Arc, Sidechain, Interledger, Cosmos. Yeah. All of those are actually another blockchain. And so we're taking this from experience. We're taking an enterprise approach to this, because what enterprises need is less risk and seamless connectivity for this to work.
Right.
And if you want to do this at scale, introducing an overhead on top of another blockchain is not the right way to do it, and it won't scale. Mm-hmm. So one thing that people in our experience, enterprise will change their back end and their systems to connect with you. And Ripple failed to do that very early on, and I think it was 2013 they were doing a trial with Westpac, which was a bank in Australia.
Right, yes.
And it was one of the early adoptions of this. And Ripple came in and said, "Oh, we're a blockchain. This is what you do, and this is how you connect." And they made Westpac change a lot of their back end for it to work. And basically, Westpac just said, "No, we are not going to change us to work with you. You have to change yourself to work with us."
I see.
And I worked at HSBC for quite a while in security in my career. So at HSBC, we spent something like £6 billion a year to keep the existing systems running and to maintain it. There's no way in hell that HSBC is going to go to any vendor and say, "Yes, we'll change everything for you." Not going to happen. It's the other way around. So the technology has to adopt itself for the enterprise to use it, and that's what we've done. So with Overledger, we've created the protocol and the operating system to connect blockchains together in a very seamless way without changing any of the blockchains. So right now, there's 5, 10, 15 blockchains. In 2 years' time, there could be another 100. We'll connect all of them. To us, it doesn't make a difference. And what we're doing is allowing that gateway and that connectivity from an enterprise like HSBC and Westpac to connect to all blockchains at the same time without changing anything really on their end. And that's quite powerful, because that's the right way to do it, and that's the right internet scale way to do it.
All right, so I loved how Gilbert you basically outlined that and so on. The bottom line is just that when you think more about it, and I recently did a recorded video in regards to all this that you could check out for yourself in the Crypto Talk Now recorded video section. And if you think about it, it's like this. Like what was mentioned in the recorded video is he had, for instance, this one particular enterprise that was located in France, and he literally coming to him, as in Gilbert, through Quant and so on, saying, "Look, we're very excited because we are fully aware of what you guys do. And if anything, that's a good thing to have various other enterprises and so on chase you instead of you chasing them," right? I think is the key takeaway here. So Quant has already established themselves as being, I guess you could say, the go-to platform without them making various other blockchains or projects and so on feel as though that, like he just mentioned, hey, you want to do business, you have to change. No, that is not it. And that's the whole key thing, I think, about interoperability. Quant talks about that quite often, the whole key thing with interoperability, but not making it so, it's like, make yourself compatible with us. No, this is who we are. This is what we do. When we make the statement of connecting everything to everything, it's just that, not making things in which we're changing your business or having your devs do backflips in order to be compatible or interoperable with us. So we're going to kick it into the next particular one that I have for you guys here as well. Give me just a moment. And it's a little bit more on Quant, which is good. But if anything, it's just some of these outlines, because, we hear about certain things like, what exactly is an interledger protocol? What are you trying to solve, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, it's people, I think don't understand. Some of you guys, of course, understand it. But I mean, I think like a person just coming into this may not quite get that. And of course, I just want to share this with you guys to give you a broader perspective, even if you are aware of it. It's just, if anything, it's educational, right? So here we go. Here's another one. You've probably seen this gentleman on the left before. But yeah, I just want to go ahead and share this as well. And we'll be back in about a couple minutes.
For interledger protocol, ILP, how does that differ? This new effort, how does that differ from ILP? Because I think their goal was to try to bridge, networks through at least for the payments layer, and that was very simplistic bridging. How does this differ? Or is it similar?
No, it's very different. So ILP is a P2P protocol for payments between different assets and different blockchains, doing hash time locks and whatever, and Ripple and Bitcoin are one of the early use cases, and that's good for a payment use case. But what we're doing is if you think of ILP as you're sending a message between you and your friend. It's the interaction between you two in terms of the two parties. What we're doing is at the core level, how does that one network have a gateway to understand and find resources to another network, which also has a gateway, and how do those networks talk to each other at the internet scale level? So think of it as border gateway protocol for money, and so BGP is quite a good technology, and it works. So we're creating the protocol and the methodology to find and identify networks. So with ILP, you're sending something from Ripple to Bitcoin, you know where they are. But on an internet scale, how do you know where that digital asset or the party B is that you want to send to? You need to find them. You need to find the route between the different networks to identify that digital asset. And how do you transact across those gateways? And so that's what we're tackling, which is much larger.
Yeah, that's what they're. Sorry, I was trying to see if I was not muted. That's what they're tackling, and but much larger. But I like the broader perspective of what is mentioned with the interledger protocol, the ILP, and so on. A little bit more in regards to all this. Just going to bring up the next one. We're going to be kicking into the next segment. I was hoping we would have a lot more people here tonight to see this, because if anything, this is one of the coolest darn videos, or clips, I should say, that I've seen in regards to the likes of XRP. So let's go ahead and kick it into that. I didn't see there was any more extra comments and so on, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that for you guys. Give me just a second. But you may have seen this, you may have not, but it was so well done. So well done. It's got Forrest Gump on it. It's awesome. Just sometimes we got to have some fun, right? As the saying goes. So check this out. It says, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Same could be said about investing. And how true is that, right? Think about your portfolios. I mean, literally think about my own portfolio, right? Some of you guys got even double what my portfolio is. I think I got I don't know, 46, 47, something like that, different projects I'm into. But what is the key takeaway? The key takeaway is, of course, always to do your own research, right? And to invest in solid projects that have utility that you're going to see stay around for a while, have that solid use case, solving real world problems, so on and so forth, right? But at the end of the day, the reason why we diversify, right, is because we basically just need a handful of these to just do well, and we'll be more than fine. So I think this is a good analogy about what they mentioned with the investing. But like it says, but when it relates to XRP, we all know what we hold. And I think that is the key takeaway here. This is 1 minute and 10 seconds. And if anything, I'm going to go ahead and retweet this. I think I maybe tweeted before. I can't remember. But I'm going to go ahead and retweet this for you guys can simply have it for yourself, share it, and so on. This is awesome. Really well done. Shout out to the person who did this. I don't know if it's XCommy and Art who did do this. Maybe it is. But if that is the case, maybe it is the case. I'm going to go ahead and follow him nonetheless. But anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thanks for being here.
Who in the hell is that?
Ripple's the XRP.
Cross-border payments, cross-border payments, cross-border payments, cross-border payments.
Come on. You got to admit, that was awesome. That was awesome. That is almost worth sharing just a second time. Maybe we'll share it again a little bit later in the show again. That was just cool. Remember when we had that whole doom and gloom one with, what was it, Luna? Remember that? That was pretty well put together and so on. It's kind of nice to get some good news too, right? He just forced or XRP bashing through the lawsuit at the end, and a guy breaks you have a blocker, or XRP breaks a tackle and it says like Hinman or something comes out. I don't know. It was really good stuff. Anyway, let's see a little bit more. I think we got on XRP. Yes, we do. This next one actually comes straight from Brad Garlinghouse, straight from, for instance, straight from Ripple. I'm going to go ahead and share this one with you guys as well, because it's pretty good stuff. Welcome to anybody who's just recently joined. Thank you for joining us here tonight at Crypto Talk Now. So here we go. This is, of course, CEO Brad Garlinghouse. It says traditional global payment systems are far from efficient, which is true. In this video, you're going to see Brad Garlinghouse detailing how we are removing barriers for crypto in business. He hits the nail on the head on this one. You may have seen this, you may have not, but it's pretty recent. I'll share it with you guys. Actually, it is pretty recent. It was from November 4th. But here we go. We'll be right back in, like I mentioned, about 2 minutes.
Crypto is helping transform finance businesses today in a few different ways. And I think one of the challenges for the industry has been to focus on solving real problems for real customers. And Ripple, obviously, from its earliest days, focused on the problem around cross-border payments. That's a point of a lot of friction as measured by speed and cost. And by focusing there, we've been able to have a big impact on that, relatively small piece. But I think over the next years, you're going to see many financial transactions where a middleman sits, a middle transaction, an intermediary. Those will get removed, and we'll use blockchain and other digital asset type technologies to remove that friction. And I think all of society will benefit from improving the efficiency of those systems. I think you'll see that. Certainly, you've seen it in securities settlement as an opportunity. The financial transactions around bonds, around derivatives. A lot of these things take a while to settle, and the friction associated actually holds back the industry. Insurance is an industry I think you're going to see touched. Trade finance is an industry that really Ripple, some of our customers have invited us to participate in. And you've seen experimentation around identity in real estate and title management. And these are all examples where I think it's so hard to predict where this will go, in the same way that 25 years ago, when I first got involved in the Internet of Information, I never could have predicted on my smartphone I'd press a button and I'd have a car picking me up minutes later. I think this will permeate lots of different parts of our society.
How true is that? All right. So I like that little clip from Brad Garlinghouse. I thought that was really well put together. And let's see here. Going to go into the next one a little bit more in regards to XRP and so on, where it talks about the train has left the station. Has it really left the station? We'll get more into that, of course. Let's see here. Menelek, Garlinghouse is an oracle. Yes, he definitely is. All right, so here's the next one. And let's see. I'm going to present that as well. Here we go. All right. So on this particular one, it says, the train has left the station. I repeat, the train has already left the station. And then on the bottom, like it shows, it says, U.S. banks and financial institutions are preparing for a major cyber attack that will give them a reason to implement CBDCs. And if anything, it's whether you agree with it or not, right? It's making that case, I guess you could say, to the general public who is not aware of this. For instance, I remember being at the grocery store, just kind of, I don't know, just in passing and so on. It was just mentioning something about like crypto to some people. The vast amount of people, I mean, they just know about, like, for instance, they might have heard of Bitcoin, or maybe heard of like a Shiba Inu or Doge, maybe Ethereum, but they haven't heard of all these other ones. They don't even know the concept of, CBDCs and so on. Whether we are for CBDCs or not, that's not the issue. The issue is, I think, making that case. And when you hear comments like this about how the U.S. banks and financial institutions are literally preparing for a major cyber attack that will give them, of course, a reason to implement the CBDCs. Again, I think, if anything, it is part of selling the public, right? Will the public be on board? I don't know. I realize there's people like, what's his name? I can't even think the guy's name anymore. He was in that one movie. Man, I'm drawing some blanks. Anyway, he's a comedian. He's a British guy, long hair. I forgot his name. But anyway, he makes a very good case of like why he is not for CBDCs. And a lot of people aren't for CBDCs. But again, CBDCs are coming whether we like it or not. And my thing is, why not recognize the technology? Because it's definitely going to be here. The technology, like as in the ones from, like XRP and so on. And if anything, creating that generational wealth for yourself. So we'll take a moment to listen to this. This one's only a minute and a half, and then we'll kick it right back.
We're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one.
There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it.
Frankly, our central bank has been slow, and there's an appointment coming in January of 22. The president's got to decide whether to change over who's leading the Federal Reserve.
For those of you who don't know, the next gen $100 note is the last denomination of that particular family of notes. We're working on the future generation of currency. So that is my other job.
I think the train's already left the station in terms of cryptocurrency. You may or may not know that I just joined the board of Ripple. And the reason why I chose to join that board, it's, in my opinion, one of the few cryptocurrency options out there that has a credible and legitimate use. So financial institutions use it to settle cross-border payments.
That is called a bridge crypto or bridge currency. That's in fact what Ripple is trying to do with XRP.
World taxation and one world money. They've worked for years behind the scenes preparing to realize that vision. They've literally rigged the laws of international finance. Everything is basically in place right now. And there's essentially no way to stop this from happening.
There are some cryptos that are working with regulators and are working with banks.
I agree.
Ripple
right.
would be an example.
Ripple would be an
XRP.
example, right.
Now, this is and I can imagine in the next 5 years, instead of us doing sterling against the dollar or sterling against yen and doing these kinds of transactions, we'll do sterling versus Ripple.
All right, draw your attention to the very bottom of the screen. Well, from the frame that you see right now. Of course, it looks different for me. This particular statement right here, it says, ladies and gentlemen, XRP is the only cryptocurrency that will have absolute clarity once they are ready to introduce their new monetary system to the world. I know some of this seems really like, I don't know, I guess you could say spooky, or, let's face it, some of the the nutty conspiracy theory type people will be coming out and so on. But yeah, man, I mean, there's a few key things that have been, that we shared here within the last couple of weeks. I think you literally heard Brad Garlinghouse literally mention the 3-word phrase, new world order, whether you're a conspiracy type guy or not. You even heard Biden mention it. These words are being mentioned, I don't think necessarily to create conspiracy, but I think it's just to, if anything, let people understand that there is a new world order coming, and it's in regards to the financial sectors of the world, right? How money is going to be moved, and what that entails, and so on. I mean, literally, if you look at history, like the shift of going from literally just tokens, right? Gold, silver, and so on, to actual cash. And what that entailed. I mean, was it 1865, if I'm not mistaken? Maybe 1866. I can't remember. We talked about this before. Even here in the United States, going from that to actual physical cash. And then, of course, getting off the gold standards where gold standard, I should say, where, our money, the US dollar is no longer backed by gold because we got off that standard in 1971. And then, it's just, again, these shifts, right? I think it's the main key takeaway. So, of course, was glad to share that with you guys. Going to just double check some comments real quick. Let's see here. Edward Vincent, Max Marr, for instance, he says long hair. No. Richard. Oh, man, I got to look up the guy's name real quick. So I can't even bring it up. Anyway, what is the name? He was in a movie with Mila Kunis and Jason. I don't know why I can't bring. I don't know because I wasn't feeling well today. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, he's kind of a British guy, so I'm not Max Maher. Max Maher is an American guy. All right, let's kick it into this next part. A little bit more in regards to like I believe some of these topics. Actually, hold on a second. So yeah, that's. I apologize. That's it in regards to XRP. I want to show you guys some notes they have here. Back to like, for instance, the news and so on. So this came from, of course, Investor Place. This is what I wanted to share with you guys the other day. It's just quick little news snippets, which is good to see and share with you guys. So, for instance, like it says Polkadot expands staking capabilities. Now, thanks to the introduction of protocol level staking pools, if you happen to be into Polkadot and so on. Another thing I want to point out was Graph. We have seen the Graph move this week. Had a decent pump. I think it even got as high as 10 cents from the 8 cent mark. May not seem significant, but those price levels are definitely significant. So it states that they now support Solana with the GRT USD. Like you see right here, says supports Solana. Developers on the Solana network can now utilize incredibly fast substreams to build out decentralized apps. And if anything, think about like the main appealing thing about the Graph, like when we even briefly mentioned it here, is something that was very attractive for developers, especially new developers who are just trying to, maybe start their own blockchain project, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, like I mentioned, to build out, various decentralized apps of all kinds, such on various different cross-chain bridges, large-scale analytics solutions, and more. The Graph believes its substreams improve indexing performance by more than 100x. And if anything, that's the main key takeaway I want people to know when it comes to the indexing, why we refer to it as the Graph being like, the Google of crypto, are for those main reasons. A few other ones I want to show you guys here, not so much on Hive because a lot you guys aren't really into it, but definitely with Polygon, right? So it says Polygon makes waves thanks to Meta. Whether you're a fan of Facebook's Meta and so on, it is kind of a nice partnership that they have. So it says thanks to Meta's enthusiasm for NFTs and willingness to adopt the tech even in a more pessimistic market, the company has announced Instagram will support NFT minting and selling on Polygon. A small group of creators has access for now, but the features will roll out for others soon. I'm going to take a brief moment to reflect on that. I think this is a huge win for Polygon, especially if you're like myself who holds Polygon. The reason for it is this. There's been so much of a back and forth when it comes to practical use case from a person who may be against like NFTs, for instance, right? So, like a lot of gamers, for instance, are not be the biggest fans of NFTs because the way they look at it is like it's JPEGs or whatever the case be. However, let's face it, when Facebook purchased Instagram, it was a big win because they realized that they don't want to become the likes of what happened to MySpace, right? Like MySpace, like does anyone really use MySpace anymore? Right. That's the whole thing. And now Facebook, of course, is looked upon as being a platform in which, unless like you're age 35 or above, I don't really see a lot of young people, right? Like I definitely don't see any teenagers using it, but teenagers and people like in their 20s and maybe early 30s use Instagram, but they use Snapchat and so on. My thing is this now creates, I guess you could say, like a mechanism or a use case, if you will, for that bridge between NFTs and just calling it quote unquote JPEGs and so on. If you have people using Instagram and seeing that without even thinking about it, right, they might not even be into crypto, right? But having it tied into the likes of, for instance, this thing with Meta's NFTs and, or I should say Polygon and so on, it might not even be labeled that way, but think about this. That is the mechanism being used. So it kind of like the example of, your crypto is tied into, somebody swipes their, debit card, don't realize it's tied into crypto. Could this very well be the same type of concept in which people will, post things on Instagram, various pictures, or do NFTs and so on, and not even fully realize that it's tied into just that, the likes of Polygon. I think this is a big, big win for Polygon and this partnership and so on. How about this? We talked about StepN. We've done a live, I should say live. Larry and I a long time ago did a collaboration, or we call it, both of us on the video, on the recorded, and actually we got quite a few subs and views on it in regards to StepN versus FitFi. Check this out. Solana teams up with popular sportswear company ASICS. I remember ASICS back in like the 80s and 90s. One of my all-time favorite basketball players, Clyde Drexler of the Portland Trail Blazers, he actually had an endorsement shoe deal with ASICS. But anyway, it says, and Web3 lifestyle app StepN to release Solana-inspired running shoes. Instagram also announces the integration of Solana collectibles. Whether you're for Instagram or not, you got to admit they're really doing a lot of, I guess you could say, partnerships and so on to integrate some of these various ones. You literally saw it with Solana, you saw it with Polygon, et cetera, et cetera. A little bit more on this. It says the shoes, which come in, quote, light mode and dark mode, developer speak, or language, I should say, for white and black, can be purchased for a limited time with USDC, Circle's USDC, I should say, on Solana. The shoes also come with an ASICS loyalty badge and exclusive StepN NFT to be airdropped at a later date. Instagram also announced Solana wallet integration, meaning individuals can now share their NFTs on the social media platform. Again, like I was mentioning, give people that incentive without even them really recognizing it. Sure, a person may not even be into crypto or NFTs. If anything, they see the art, and if anything, it creates that much more layer of engagement. I think it's massive, and I, shout out to these various companies for recognizing that with some of these particular partnerships. I know there's this whole thing about Tezos. I just didn't feel as though that was worth sharing with you guys because I just don't see a lot of us really into that. But if you are, apologize. Not that I don't think Tesla is a good project. I do. Let me see what's next on this particular one. Yep, this XDC. Let me kick things back in the comments just for a brief moment. And Edward Vincent, for some reason, I thought he was a British person. LOL. No, that's all right, man. I hear where you're coming from. Why can I not think about that particular one? Man. I can't think of the actors' names or anything. It's been a while. But anyway. You know what? This bugs me. I am going to pull it up real quick. So I know Mila Kunis was in the movie. Let me just pull it. At least I remember her name, right? How could you forget Mila Kunis? So let's see. I'm going to check out her filmography real quick. It won't take that long. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is the movie I'm thinking of. It was written and produced, written by Jason Segel. Russell Brand, there we go. That's the guy. I was thinking Richard. Russell Brand. He does. He has like a lot of YouTube followers and so on, like millions, right? But he was talking about what we were talking about earlier in regards to the whole, being against CBDCs and so on. And he did an outline, did a really good job basically covering that. All right, Coochie Boy, Anchor has also partnered with Polygon. Right on. Okay. To build out its Web3 products. Cool. And Edward says, ooh, super cool, dude. All right. Let's get into this next part is regards to XDC. Give me just a moment. So again, here's the next topic, which is XDC. We covered a few things here at CTN on the recording and whatnot. So it states, XDC network focuses on international trade and finance with a hybrid architecture. XDC network fixes the loopholes, of course, in global financing and trade. I'm going to blow this up for you guys. And if anything, look at what it says here. XDC network focuses on international trade and finance, as we know. But look at some of the other things that are outlined. It has developed a highly secure, permission, and scalable commercial-grade architecture. With a hybrid architecture, XDC network fixes the loopholes in global financing and trade. This helps financial industries by providing them with instant and real-time settlement via smart contracts. And if anything, my key thing here is, you know, think about, you know, the ISOs and so on. XDC definitely stands out as being, in my opinion, a very undervalued one of the ISOs. And once we get to the point where, you know, saying the flip is switched, you know, look at the likes of like Salamander, right, who holds a big position of it. Even at these price levels that it's at right now, I mean, was it roughly in the 3-cent range? Has a lot lower market cap compared to some of the other ISOs. I just think XDC is very, very undervalued at the moment. I think they'll definitely have their moment in the future. But this last one, the XDC network is powered by the XDC01 protocol. The XDC protocol is created to support the smart contracts layer and AML / KYC layer. A little bit more on this. Here's the main thing I wanted to show you from this, about how like this is all kind of like together and whatnot. But you know, you see some of the key members and the asset sellers and so on. It's nothing to bat an eye about, right? You know, the other day we talked about the Deutsche Bank, HSBC being part of this. There's some other real big key players and so on. You know, some of the, how this one versus Tech Stack, Trade Tech, there's XDC right up in the mix and so on. You just have a kind of like a breakdown how some of this basically works. A little bit more in regards to all this I want to share with you in regards to XDC. We cover this, of course, in the recorded video, but if you're wondering about the specifics about that particular proposal that was passed, it does kind of outline this right here. So again, like, you know, it mentions, thank you, XDC community, for your vote of confidence in our team to continue the mission of facilitating a prosperous, decentralized developer community for the XDC network. There were over 2,000 views of the post, and the voting results were overwhelmingly positive. Just, you know, I got to use this comparison. So, like, for instance, Luna Classic, you know, you have, you know, various proposals and so on, right? And some of those get passed and some of them don't. Same concept to a sense, right? And of course, this is with the XDC community. Here's the proposal voting results, 97-7. Big, whopping, overwhelming majority, right? So it gives you an idea on this. It says, for instance, results and archives. The original posts, comments, and Google results have been archived that you see right here. But it was a proposal basically to create this, what's referred to as a historical XDC community proposal and so on, to create these types of things, to have these types of initiatives and whatnot. And like you see at the very top, on the 31st of October, right, Halloween, it says this was originally held on survey, Monkey, and could have multiple votes and is no on-chain voting mechanism. So it has been moved up, of course, to vote for transparency, and then of course they got things sorted out and whatnot. But it's nice to see that they have this big thing, which is just that, an actual official community. XDC community requires your support and so on. And it was just an overwhelming majority to create this particular type of community. I think it's a big win for XDC and so on. You want to see the community have say in some of the proposals. All right, a little bit more. Let me see here. There is, my bad, this right here. And this is to, of course, the next topic. But before we get into that, I just want to double check the comments. And okay, we just don't really have a lot of people here tonight. And that's all right. And if anything, I'm just still going to continue with this because I want to bring it to those who are here. So let's see. There we go. So it is in regards to Luna Classic. And like I mentioned, straight from the Luna Classic community. Hello, Luna Classic community. Knowledge is power. First, to understand how everything works, we need to start by the basics. True, right? In this video, it will show you how a blockchain operates, brought to you by Luna Classic Education. I think here's the key takeaway. A lot of us, of course, know what blockchain is and so on, but some of us don't. And if anything, I like the idea that they are recognizing that with Luna Classic, since it trends so much, there's a lot of brand new investors who don't even know about the terminology of it. So for them to create an educational side of the community, I think is a win all the way, because you want people to understand some of this basic stuff, right? So I'm gonna take a moment basically to share this with you guys. I'm gonna do it in a way, of course, where you could hear it, because if anything, it kind of just gives you a quick, was it like a minute to immediately know what blockchain is all about. So here we go, and we'll be back in literally like about a minute or so.
The blockchain offers the ability to distribute ledgers in a decentralized way. And that's the key concept: decentralized records of information. Unlike centralized systems, where the ledgers of records are stored in a single specific entity, like a bank or a governmental institution, the blockchain shares the ledgers in between its participants. That's what makes it decentralized. This means that the ledgers are written and stored in a network, and its members are responsible to update it and monitor it. No record could ever be added without the consensus of its participants. Every block of records is constantly synchronized by the different members of the open network, creating multiple copies of the data through a shared record-keeping system, ensuring no one person or organization holds ownership of the data. So, a blockchain establishes an auditable and indisputable open record of information that is cheaper, faster, and more secure than any centralized system.
All right, so there you have it. Especially if somebody that's new to crypto and so on. I don't know. I get it. A lot of us already know about this stuff. But if anything, for the Luna Classic community to have something like that to offer, especially the new people, it's good. You want to see crypto education out there, right? I mean, why not? All right, a little bit more in regards to all this. Give me just a second. We have a few more people who came in to make comments. Edward Vincent, good clips for sure. Still, thank you very much. Samo Fudd is in the house. Crypto Talk Now. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for your continued support of CTN. And we got Briltony, got the cool shades on. Everybody saying hello to Selmo. Really cool stuff. Thank you for that. All right, so getting into the next part of this, let me just pull this up for a second. It is a little bit more in regards to Luna Classic and actually Cosmos. I'll pull this up. And here it is. So I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. And you may have seen this, maybe you haven't, but it states, huge shout out, of course, to Edward Kim for proposal 10880 for passing. To give you the gist of it, basically, the Cosmos network being reactivated by the December 22nd brings enormous potential to the entire Luna Classic community. Like it says, let's keep doing great things. And then here's the proposal details. Of course, there's a vote and so on. It says, Cosmos Hub IBC reactivation via client unfreeze. The proposal is about unfreezing/updating the IBC Tendermint client 07 Tendermint-71 that you see right here, which references Cosmos Hub. Details and discussion on this proposal can be found in Terra Classic Research, which is right there, and so on. Now, this, you may be wondering, well, I don't understand some of this, and that's fine. What I want you to understand is that it is a big win for Luna Classic, because if anything, like, we mentioned with some of these other projects, like Quant and so on, it creates that extra layer, gives Luna Classic that extra bridge, if you will. And if anything, how about this? You know how Quant always talks about interoperability? It creates the interoperability with Cosmos, because Cosmos basically is going to create and help Luna Classic reach out to more and more different blockchains and so on. And I think by having this reactivated by December 22nd, like I mentioned, it is enormous potential for not just the Luna Classic community, but believe it or not, it's actually a win as well for Cosmos. So excuse me on that, which is going to bring me, of course, to this next thing, where I'm going to introduce Cosmos to you guys, like I said I was going to do. Maybe you're wondering, like, well, I thought you were going to do it like maybe next week or something like that. I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time to mention it, because if anything, what has happened recently with this proposal with Luna Classic. So here is just a brief introduction. It's not going to be like a super, super deep dive, but it is a brief introduction to Cosmos. They do have, of course, their own crypto currency, which is referred to as Atom. That's the ticker symbol for it. We'll get into more about the prices and where it's been and so on towards the end of this particular segment. But like it mentions right here, welcome to Cosmos. Cosmos is a rapidly expanding ecosystem of independent, interconnected blockchains, like I mentioned, but using developer-friendly application components and connected with groundbreaking IBC protocol, like it mentions, inter-blockchain communication protocol. One of the key areas I want to point out here is this. Like I mentioned, there are currently more than 263 apps and services in the Cosmos network. That's massive, right? Including Binance Chain, Terra, Crypto.org, and Cosmos Hub, with over 74 billion of the digital assets under management. So, I think that's one of the key things here is realize how they already were with Terra and so on before, but things got frozen, right? Rightfully so, because of a lot of things that, let's face it, has happened. And to see this be unfrozen, was it by the 22nd, I think is a step in the right direction, because Cosmos is a big player that, in my opinion, kind of flies under the radar for whatever reason. And that is why we're going to get more into about Cosmos. How I feel is very underrated at the moment. I think it's kind of underpriced, if you will, when we get more into this. Here's another way I honestly look at Cosmos. All right. So I just want to throw this out there. I'm not giving you financial advice ever, but what I will state is this. I look at the likes of, for instance, like, Avalanche last year, Solana, and so on. There were some real big blue chips. Whether you feel as though like those are solid projects now is beyond the point. But let's face it, some of those ones really, really started to stand out, right? And like their top 100, what was referred to as a blue chip. I feel as though Cosmos is going to be mentioned in the mix when we get into the bull run. I really firmly believe that. But it states right here, we believe in interoperability, just like why I was using that example earlier, and autonomy over silos and monopolies, collaboration and innovation over competition and status quo. Rather than a web in which value is created by so many yet captured by so few, that value must be exchanged, stored, and secured between parties without relying on centralized servers. Cosmos is the first fully free platform to enable this. Now, this particular statement where they said that, we believe in interoperability and autonomy over silos and monopolies. Okay, well, interoperability, I mean, immediately think, of course, quant, right? So that stands out. But they said over monopolies. And then I think to myself, that kind of contradicts this statement, because quant is a monopoly, but they do have the interoperability. Anyway, teach his own. Like it also states right here, empowering developers worldwide. With Cosmos, developers can choose to build entirely autonomous application-specific blockchains that can be easily interconnected. This means that, unlike with all the other leading blockchains of today, they are no longer forced to exist as smart contracts on someone else's chain. So here's the main takeaway you should take from this. Picture the likes of, I guess you could say, Cardano, right, with ADA. They have a lot of good quality smart contracts, and I do believe that those are going to be standing out here soon. But imagine, for instance, like it mentions, unlike the likes of like ADA or Ethereum and so on, those particular projects wouldn't be forced to exist just as smart contracts or just being loyal to that particular chain. Instead, they can opt out of high transaction fees, hence Ethereum, and network congestion, make their own rules, and scale for mainstream adoption. It's kind of like, yeah, you have that smart contract, but you also have the freedom to go elsewhere, right? It's kind of like, let's say you're an artist, right? Back in the day, can you imagine if it would have been, I don't know, like, Tupac with Death Row or something like that. And Tupac had, the option to go to Bad Boy Entertainment. I mean, that would be nuts, right? Like Suge Knight's not gonna allow that to happen, right? No way. But in the crypto language, yeah, you'll be able to do that. That's a crazy analogy, I know, but I thought I'd throw that out there. Instead of 1 million blockchain apps competing for throughput on a single base layer, why not 1 billion blockchain apps interconnected across 1 million sovereign blockchains? This is what's possible with Cosmos. And if you think about this, like, crypto should be all about decentralization anyway, right? So Now it's blockchain decentralization because you're giving all these different various projects, in this case smart contracts, the freedom to go as they please. And I think that's another great thing, because if anything, they're going to be able to network with more and more different other projects, blockchains, and so on. That's why I feel as though this is a very, very underrated blockchain coin, where you want to call it, especially if you're investing into it when it comes to the Atom coin. Organizations, Cosmos gives your community the power to organize and allocate resources to its members. Individuals can use the tokens to vote on impactful decisions that govern their own community. Literally, you saw an example of that earlier. Imagine having transparency in how your local government spends your tax money, and even voting on where it goes. A big thing that kind of pops out here is what we presented to you guys a few months ago with the city coins, right? We've seen Miami coin basically have quite a few pumps. It's a really good swing trade, to say the least. But the concept of the city coins is kind of like what you see right here. But Cosmos, I think, if anything, brings that to a much larger and broader perspective, mainly because, let's face it, of how many different exchanges they're on and so on. Where with the city coins, you can only get from one specific exchange, and it has to be within their exchange internally. A little bit more, we were talking about, earlier with the whole, like with social media, the coverage that we did basically with what was going on with Instagram and so on, right? With Meta teamed up with Polygon, Solana. How about this? Free flow of information and freedom of expression have been hindered by centralized platforms censoring and filtering content and extracting value from their users. Hence Twitter, right? Before the whole thing was taken over by Elon Musk. I thought that was a big win for, people who are big proponents, of course, of what? First Amendment, right? So it says Cosmos empowers communities to build autonomous social networks in which every user can have a voice and create value and benefit from the value creation of others. Of course, they have quite a few different marketplaces and so on. I will mention this because I'm into gaming and so on. Cosmos allows game developers to create unique collections, or just say collectibles, and character upgrades that they can monetize without third-party approval or app store fees. Through NFTs, these digital assets live forever, providing lasting value for gamers and creating endless opportunities. All right. I'm going to get down to the main things I want to share with you guys, and that is this. For instance, there's more about the tech that you can look more into. You're going to hear this particular thing being mentioned quite often when it comes to Cosmos, and that is the Tendermint. But I want to get down to this. Yeah, they even have an SDK, software development kit, which is really cool. But what I want to show you is this further down here. Not the story of Cosmos, because, it's just going to give you the history, but it's this. The staking, right? Discover the Atom, right? Which is their ticker symbol. It says Atom secures and governs the Cosmos Hub, the first blockchain in the Cosmos network. Now I'm going to take you to that. And here it is, just that. If you're interested in getting into Atom, aka Cosmos, here's basically staking rewards. So it says when the staking transaction is complete, rewards will start to be generated immediately. At any time, stakers can send transaction to claim their accumulated rewards using a wallet. Keyword anytime. You're not going to be, penalized for, and so on, right? Like there's so many other projects out there where, you have to be at least staked for like 6 months, 90 days, etc. Right? And then look at this APY, right? Typical APY of 9.7%. Staked Atom annually. Again, they're state typical. It does kind of fluctuate. If you staked 1,000 Atom in this particular example, it says your rewards would be 89.18, which is roughly a 10.28% commission. It varies, of course, between validators, which is true. So I definitely want to show you that. The other part I want to show you was their ecosystem, right? So we were talking about, countless times about ADA's ecosystem and the smart contracts behind it, so on and so forth, right? But Cosmos has just that, a very vast, impressive ecosystem, 263 apps and services. Discover a wide variety of apps, blockchains, wallets, and explorers built in the Cosmos ecosystem by developers and contributors from across the globe. It says we have not officially vetted or contacted these projects for proof. Do your own research, right? Absolutely. But again, I think the reason for that, why they haven't like fully vetted everything, is because when you create that much more freedom, you can't fully vet everything, because think about it, it's not they're just onboarding anything and everything, but at the same time, it does create basically what I just mentioned. But some of these, here's some of the ones that are here. I mean, this is obviously over a big list. You have Anchor Protocol, whether you're for them or not. You have ANKR, which is separate from Anchor Protocol right here. You also have, what else you got in here? BHEX chain. I don't know. Just I'm trying to find the ones that kind of stood out to me that I at least recognized. Carbon. I don't know. There's just quite a few on this list. There's of course Cosmos Games, Cosmos Hub, right? We were just talking about that in regards to Terra Luna Classic, right? A little bit more Crypto.com, decentralized. You have a DEX for that. I mean, it's not like they just don't have any big players in this. They definitely do. I'll just kind of keep going through a few of this, but I mean, the list is just huge. I mean, look at this. I can just go on and on and on and on. It's pretty impressive. So I wanted, of course, to show you guys that you may be familiar with Cosmos and so on. And then, of course, with Quant, I mean, they already, have that layer of interoperability already with them. I just think that this is one particular one to maybe look further into for yourself. A little bit more in regards to Cosmos. Here is the listing on CMC, and it is it's in the top 21. It's not even top 100. It's top 50, ranked 21, right? Top 50. Currently sitting at 1388. A year ago, it was at 4452. Gives you an idea of what's going on with Cosmos. So, for instance, early 2021, you saw a price level of about roughly close to $24, and you kind of saw that for the most part for most of that time until about April and so on. But all-time highs, they had a few all-time highs. Was back, of course, January 16th, 2022, roughly around close to $44. And then during last year's bull run, it did drop to kind of like, I guess you could say, what you see right now. But what I was going to state is, if you're wondering, well, why would I want to get into something in which during the bull run it dropped? Well, they had a lot of things that have happened since then. And if anything, my key takeaway was how they expanded their ecosystem like vastly, and they gave more of that freedom for other projects to come in and so on. Definitely helped maybe, to try to get this thing turned around. I think they need to kind of still prove themselves to turn themselves around. But I think in this particular market, I think that is where they rebound going into the next bull run. That's just how I feel personally. I think it just makes sense with all their partnerships and everything they got going on. Again, look more into it for yourself. For now, I'm going to kick it back into the comments. All right, so let's see here. People saying hello to Somo. And going further down, XXI Gaming. What's good, everyone? Good to see you, XXI. Sorry I wasn't able to go to that particular AMA this morning. Just at that particular time, I wasn't able to do it. But thank you nonetheless for mentioning me and, trying to turn me on to status. And on top of that, you guys are saying hello to XXI. That's good. And Edward Vincent, quant dipping. All right, let's take a moment to basically see what's going on with that. Let me see. So quant is dipping. Maybe it's a good time to pick up another bag. Yo, man, yeah, down on 155. Yeah, that's pretty appealing considering where it was. I'm going to go ahead and share that for a brief moment. All right. Oop. There we go. Yeah, sitting at 152.22. The volume, of course, is up because people are obviously recognizing, this is in the 160s not that long ago. So, for instance, the other day, yeah, we were up as high as close to like 158, 159. And then, yeah, 160 like what, a few days ago? Let me double check that. Yeah, just a few days ago, we're 160. So yeah, I would definitely say that this would be considered a bargain. I mean, for people who are there like, I don't want to crash down to $100. That's my bargain. Well, I get where you're coming from. I just don't really realistically see that happening. What I see is, what is that right now? Maybe it dips down further more to 150 even, possible. But I just don't see anything being really, really dramatic here with that. But that's cool. If it basically did do that, I mean, compared to like people that came in at like, let's face it, $208 a quant when it was at the high for this last month. That's a big, big difference. So let me see. I'm just going to double check the comments real quick. 150 sounds like a good, happy number 2. Yes, it does. All right. So one last thing I do wanted to bring you guys, and that is this is the last part of the news before we start wrapping things up. Give me just a moment. And it can, this shout out to Mike Cornwell, who shared this with me yesterday. I meant to share it yesterday, just didn't have a chance. But it is big news in regards to like BlackRock and so on. So it says Circle starts moving USDC reserves into BlackRock managed fund. Firm expects to be fully transitioned by, of course, next year. According to the crypto firm Circle Internet Financial, the company is, quote, deepening its partnership with the world's largest asset manager, which is BlackRock. Circle disclosed that it has started to transfer USDC reserves into a BlackRock managed fund that's registered within the United States Security and Exchange Commission, which is the SEC. On top of that, like you see right here, Circle deepens the relationship with the world's largest asset manager, which is BlackRock. That is true. They are, worth, I guess, trillions. I mean, it's insane when you think about all the assets they have. In mid-April 2022, Circle detailed that the company entered an investment agreement with BlackRock Inc. And basically, according to this, they had an investment of $400 million, which was the funding round. And during that announcement, BlackRock explained how Circle and the New York-based multinational investment company would expand the, quote, two companies' existing relationship. It was also revealed that BlackRock would be used by Circle for managing significant assets for the reserves that had backed USDC. 6 months later, Circle, of course, disclosed on November 3rd, 2022, recently, that the company would be deepening its relationship with BlackRock, and Circle has started to move just that, the USDC reserves into, of course, a BlackRock managed fund. Through our partnership with BlackRock, we have begun investing in the Circle Reserve Fund to manage a portion of course, USDC reserves. Circle Chief Financial Officer, who's Jeremy Fox Green, explained, and here's the quote. By him, he states, we expect the reserve composition will continue to be approximately 20% cash and 80% short duration in regards to those U.S. treasuries. The last main thing I want to point out here, because all the rest of this, I don't know if you guys want to hear this particular part. I don't think you do. But it states the investment objective of the Circle, the investment objective of the Circle Reserve Fund, USDXX, is to, quote, seek current income as is consistent with liquidity and stability of principal. Circle is the only investor, and the fund invests in at least 99.5% of its total assets in cash, U.S. Treasury bills, notes, and other obligations. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see this whole thing with the reserves, and then how it's tied into BlackRock and so on. So, that was pretty big news. And of course, that was released yesterday or posted yesterday on bitcoin.com. All right. Just going to go ahead and stop the share. I'm going to read whatever comments are left. And last one was Selmo Fudd. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's show. Thank you so much again for being here tonight. Check us out again tomorrow for another live show, as well as recorded videos and so on. There's a new quant video that was released earlier this morning by myself. And we're going to, of course, continue to put out record content, for the likes of quant, because it's really doing well. We've been getting a lot of subscribers for that and so on, which is cool. XDC, Of course, Luna Classic. You know, and then when I see, for instance, Ethereum Classic, once in a while, we may do some coverage on that. But we're doing pretty well on those particular ones, and rightfully so. Thanks again for watching today's live coverage from Crypto Talk Now. You all have a blessed night, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.